in just another. All right, I guess we're getting started now. Welcome, everyone. My name is Daniela Labate-Cavalli. I'm from NIAPRS, and I'm happy to be with you this afternoon for Winter Success and Wellness Ideas from the Field to start your incredible year. So we have quite a lineup of all-stars today for you, starting off with our NIAPRS collective, which includes Larry Hochwald, Robert Statham, David Ferens, and the Director of Training and Development, Ruth Cologne Wagner. They've assembled a panel of providers from throughout New York State that are going to share their tips and tricks along with theirs for you. And those folks are Ronit Maxwell, who's the program director at Jasa Bronx Friendship House, Gita Enders, the director of the Office of Behavioral Health, Medical and Professional Affairs at New York City Health and Hospitals, Allison Huggins, who's the quality assurance person over at Gill Community Services, and Ashley Brown, a crisis counselor at Student Affairs at SUNY Ulster. So a couple of quick housekeeping things before we kick things off. Larry, do you want to go to the next slide? Because there's a really cute thing happening on the next slide. Cool, thank you. So just a couple of things. This session is being recorded. The recording as well as the slides will be posted at niaprs.org within a couple of days. We are offering continuing education credits for LMSW, LCSW, CPRP, and LMHCs. In order to qualify for those, you have to be in the Zoom room and not just dialed in on the telephone. And then you'll also be receiving an evaluation. Everyone will be receiving an evaluation link within 24 hours of the end of today's offering. And so you'll just get that evaluation through your email. You'll click on the link, you'll fill out the evaluation. On that form, you'll let us know which CE you're looking for. And you just need to return that back to us within 48 hours in order to get your CE. So I think besides that, there is also going to be time for Q&A at the end. So we encourage you to use the chat box throughout. We'll be monitoring that throughout. And I see people are already using the chat box, so that's great. So keep doing that. And I think with that, if I haven't missed anything, Larry, I'm going to turn it over to you to start us off.
Great. Thank you very much, Daniela. Welcome, everybody. We're very happy to have you. It's great to see all the different regions represented in our chat. And I do want to say that, well, not only will we be looking for the normal Q&A, but we hope that you will also feel free to share some of your tips after you've heard from, or as you're hearing from everyone else. If something has worked for you, please feel free to throw that in the chat. So with that, we do have some objectives today, and so we are going to summarize the specific challenges which winter brings to our wellness. People are going to talk about their own challenges as well as some of the things that we see, evaluate ideas to combat the negative wellness effects of winter, produce a list of tools to use at work to start the new year off successfully. So people will weigh in with some of their own challenges, but we just want to point out why we're all here today. We have seasonal affective disorder, we have less light, we have weather that keeps us in. I have done more walking during the pandemic than I have probably done in my life since before I owned a car anyway. And yet come this particular winter, I don't know about you, when I woke up it was 8 degrees today, and so we're not getting outside very much, and that includes, so even the limited sun we have with these shortened days, we're not getting it. So there are a lot of negative effects to being isolated in the pandemic, and adding that being isolated because of the weather, the shortened daylight hours. Daylight is important to our body rhythms as well as to our mood. So we called together everybody to try and help us with the tools and techniques that people are using, and that people are getting benefits from. So I'd like you to meet our collective team that's going to be presenting today. I'm going to hand it off for a little bit for my partner, Robert Statham from the upper part of the state.
Well, thank you, Larry. It's a pleasure to be here. And I represent the western and central region of the state. So it's awesome to see some people in my region, Kirsten and Kenneth from Onondaga County, Maura from cold, snowy Buffalo, and Alicia from Unity House. So it's so great to have you here for today's presentation.
Great, thank you. And our associate, David.
David Ferens here. I am the trainer for the Hudson Valley region, and really grateful to see people here. Ashley Brown, who was originally coming to us through Ulster County, is now is with us today. So it's nice to see people that we know here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I am Larry Hockwald, and I am the trainer for New York City and Long Island. We have a lot of representation today. I'm very happy to see out in the comments, as well as several of our presenters, Gita, Ronit, Allison, have come to us from the New York City region. So with that, before we move on, I want to turn it over to our director of our division, Ruth Klum-Wagner.
Ruth, you're
muted, Ruth.
Muted.
This always happens to other people, never to me. I think I say that every time it happens to me. But I'm happy to be here. I just wanted to throw it out there, Larry, that you forgot your new title. Larry is the collective team leader. So bravo, and thank you so much for pulling this together, and all the providers. Thank you all for being here. And I do want to shout out one person. I actually don't know her, but her name is Karen from Wisconsin, and that is my adopted state. So welcome.
Yes, that is true. Yes. So yes, welcome, and welcome to everyone. We're so happy to have this crowd here today. So what is special about today? The collective, we offer free training to all OMH licensed and funded organizations. That's our division of NIAPRIS. That's why we exist. We're funded by the Office of Mental Health, and we are very grateful for that funding. And so we're always trying to improve the work that we do. We're always researching the latest information to update our trainings. We develop new trainings. We're very proud. Rob was the lead author on a new training. We're going to have ethics. We've been asked for a long time to do ethics, and we finally decided that we were ethical enough to get that done. And so we have a new ethics training that we'll be launching in 2022, and David will be introducing he was the lead author on our second mindfulness training. So we're always bringing new stuff, but the pandemic, while really a difficult time, and we saw so many bad things happen to people, but it forced us to also change the way we work. And now we offer hybrid when it's safe to do so, and someone wants us in person, we can do it. But a lot of agencies are very happy we can now do it online. And thanks to that whole online platform, we bring these webinars. But we're always looking for the next thing, and we're trying to figure what's the next step in training. And we realize that the next step is, how do we get the providers to train themselves so that we can have that much more time for all our paperwork? And we finally figured out, we said, let's get the providers to present at our trainings, at our webinars. And we have done that today. We have put together such an incredible panel. We are so excited to have all of you here. And did Rob, David, you want to weigh in on anything?
Yeah, I certainly do. So this is an opportunity to really hear the voice of providers who are already very knowledgeable, and to share your knowledge with providers all across the state. So you're the star today. And I think it's just great that we can have a different kind of forum where we're not the educators, so to speak, but we have educators from all over the state to be a part of this. So I applaud everybody who's here today.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, I've always found that the collective wisdom of the groups that I get to train is always a delight, and always enjoyable and fascinating. And I'm looking forward to people's contributions here as well, because together we are always wiser than we are alone.
Thank you very much, guys. So we're going to move along and meet from today's panel. So we're going to introduce the people from our region. Now, I have a concern. Allison was having trouble getting on, and did she get on? Is Allison here?
I don't see her name on the list.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? We're going to hope she gets here. And we're going to go to Ashley Brown. And so, David, could you introduce Ashley?
Okay, Ashley is originally from Ulster County. Well, she is in Ulster County. She works at SUNY Ulster now, an LCSWR, as we see up there. Trained in DBT, has a mindfulness practice, which I think she's going to share with us today. Has completed a 200-hour yoga teacher training during the pandemic, which I think is pretty awesome. And just for the whimsy of it, her favorite color when I pressed is purple. So I give you Ashley Brown.
Thank you, David. Can everybody hear me? Okay. So this is one of my favorite topics, self-care and self-care for us professionals. I just think it's so important because we give so much of ourselves, and there's that parallel process of taking care of ourselves as well. Before I was in my current position, I was working in the outpatient mental health clinics for about 16 years. And I had a caseload of over 100 people, paperwork, very busy days. So I learned more about this personally and professionally in combination with my DBT training and mindfulness. So these are things that I've just gathered over the years. And I feel like I have, lots of different ideas. I don't know if I'll get them all in, these few minutes, but some things just very simple that I think is starting your day with drinking a full glass of water. If you think about it, you've been sleeping for 8 hours, your body hasn't had any hydration for that time. And hydration is just such a basic, important part of wellness. In my office right now, I have a little humidifier on my desk just to add, the heaters are on, the air is dry. Again, just, little self-care tips. Of course, I have water and tea by me. And, somebody talked about winter being, there's less light in the day. So, keep those Christmas lights up maybe until spring or even all year round. There's reasons why the holidays, there's such an emphasis on light, whether it's candles or lights on the tree or candles in your window, because the days are shorter. Okay, so just looking at my notes, I also think that people tend to not like winter, the majority, because it's cold and dark. But I think I like to look at the parallels of winter with nature and our own selves and just the symbolism of what that can mean. So winter can be a time of going within, quieting down, stillness, and giving permission to rest. So perhaps, when the days are longer in the spring and summer, we're out more, longer days with work schedule, but winter can be a time, if you think about when the sun sets, it's 4 or 5 and then doesn't come back up again for over 12 hours. So really seeing that as a reminder of a time to rest and slow down. So with that said, I mentioned I have DBT training and mindfulness, and I like to teach mindfulness to make it accessible for people. I think sometimes people think, oh, but I don't have an hour to, meditate, or I can't sit still for too long. But there's ways to have mindful moments throughout the day, whether it's winter or summer or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to invite you all to do a little mindfulness, maybe just a couple minutes, just to feel yourselves sitting in your chair, feeling your body touching the parts of the chair, and putting your feet on the ground and feeling the soles of your feet on the ground, and Your eyes can be open or have a soft gaze, or you can close them. Take a deep breath. Just exhale, noticing if your shoulders feel tense or up to your ears, or just noticing where you're at in this moment at 12:17. There's nowhere else to be right now. Nowhere else to go. You're just here in this moment right now. You may notice sounds around you. They could be in your room or in the distance. You're not trying to change anything or breathe a certain way. You're just taking this mindful moment to check in with yourself. And when you feel comfortable, just thinking of an intention that you'd like to put out there for the rest of today, for this hour. If you want to send some positive thoughts to somebody you care about, or even to yourself, whether it's, comfort or courage, or feeling proud of yourself that you're attending this training or participating. What brings you to the training? What brings you to your office and your work every day when you're creating your intention? Breathe that in. And when you're ready, you can come back to the room and the training and the Zoom screen. And I like to, with the intention throughout the day, just to gather those mindful moments of checking in. Oh, right. 6 hours ago, I thought about that I wanted to put out positivity today. And, it's been a really busy day. Let me just check in with that and remind myself of my center with that. And carrying that through. So I hope that was helpful and supportive. And again, I think these are things you can carry throughout, whether it's winter, spring, summer, fall, the intention setting and putting that out there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. And we're going to go back a slide because Allison Huggins was able to join us. So I'm going to introduce her. I'd like to say I'm very pleased she's here. She works with Gail Community Services, and Gail in the Bronx is the first agency I trained at Niagara. And Ruth and I went down there for a trauma-informed care training. And 7 years later, where we've worked together many times, and it's great that we can have you presenting for us now. So without further time wasted, I'm throwing it right to Allison. Take it away.
Oh my gosh, Happy New Year, everyone, and thank you. I'm happy to be part of this panel today. I'm not 100% prepared, and I was at a previous site, and the internet was so slow there, so I was not able to log in. So I'm now at another site, and it's kind of active. So if you see me in and out of screen, then maybe someone is interrupting. So I was trying to read and understand what makes a successful year. And I didn't come up with anything significant like a PowerPoint or nothing. So I'm just speaking off the cuff, and it's going to be related to the job because a lot of concerns are surrounding about how we survive as agencies today in COVID time. And I would like to speak on what we do as an agency. One of the things that I'm proud of is that I do have an executive director and an assistant. And every bi-weekly or monthly, we do have a call-in in real time. And they take the time to go around to all of the employees and ask how they're doing, how their family are doing, if they have any questions and concerns. They have provided every single safety precautions you can think of, so that when we are here, we are safe and we are fully supported in real time. And that has been so helpful. Our clients, I mean, we haven't had any significant outbreak. We haven't had any significant closing or anything throughout the COVID from 2 years. And our staff more or less with longevity with us during our time, because we have flexibility, we have the full support. And in program setting, I think it's like working in sync with supervisors and modeling for our staff coming down. We as supervisors, we know that we have a program, we know that we have services to be delivered. And we don't take advantage of the flex time, but we come together and we speak about how we're going to strategize almost on a weekly basis, so that we find the support amongst ourselves and that we can able to be there for our clients. And I find that to be very helpful. When you feel alone, especially during this time, I think that you start thinking like maybe burnouts and frustration. So it's very important to have that support. And I usually, I'm hearing from other peers of mine that being there 5 days a week, 9 to 5, not having enough safety precautions is usually a turn off. And if you are in an agency, maybe you may look about, providing all PPEs and other safety precautions that is needed, so that you're stable, your program is not going to be closed. And I don't know, we are also very close connected with Department of Health. So we bring a lot of testing to the sites. And that has also been, proved to be helpful and prevent any outbreaks and stuff like that. So just like we used to have an annual fair, health fair, we're doing it now with our SHINE, Department of Mental Health. We are working so closely with them. Sometimes 2-3 months we have testing here, because a lot of clients don't want to be out there standing in line and being frustrated. So we advocate strongly to bring it here, both for our staff and our clients. So those are some of the things that we have been using and will continue to use to have a successful year. And personally, mindfulness. I know that Larry did a wonderful presentation about that. And just try new things for yourself, as an individual, and just stay focused. And this too will pass, and we will go back to maybe hopefully some type of normalcy, if not 100%. And I wish more people were here today, but this is a good start. I like that, to hear from everyone else. So thank you, Larry.
Thank you very much, Allison. We do have a lot of people. This is a webinar platform, so we can't see the people who are out in the audience. We have a lot of people. So you're just seeing the people who are up here to present, but thank you very much. Those are really great ideas. We really appreciate you made it. I know it was tough to have to run from one location to the other. So we really appreciate that you made it. And thank everyone at Yale for supporting you and getting you on today. Thank you very much. So we're going to now, I'm sorry, what?
No, I said thank you.
Oh, thank you. So we're going to now turn it over to Ronit Maxwell, she works for in my region. She works for the Jasa Bronx Friendship House. I have been very fortunate to work with Ronit also for years now. We've done a lot of training together, a lot of collaboration. Ronit is probably going to stay off camera while she speaks because she's been having some internet issues and wants to increase the bandwidth, but she has slides, so she's going to have to, I won't see her nod her head. So Ronit, just remember to say next, please, and I'm going to put up your first slide. There we go.
Thanks so much, Larry. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. I just want to start off by saying I am so excited to be here with all of you and just to learn in this new, different way. I just really appreciate you bringing us all together. And I'll start off by saying, you know, prior to working with Jasa, I worked for 17 years with NYU in an Alzheimer's research setting. And I worked with caregivers. I worked with the people who had various forms of dementia themselves. And firsthand, I learned very quickly, you know, the concept of how we really can't adequately care for others unless we care for ourselves. Burnout is very real in those settings. And now that I'm with Jasa, I've been with Jasa for 8 years. I'm learning it on a completely different level. And it's a constant area that I am learning on, trying to hone my own skills, try to learn alongside one another. So thank you for allowing me to do this. So next slide. Okay, so Jasa is an organization that serves older adults in the New York area. We service 40,000 older adults and their families annually. And we try to help them with their vital needs and help them live safely and confidently through the different types of supports that we offer. Next slide. So I have been working for 8 years at the Jasa Bronx Friendship House. Jasa has 2 friendship houses. This is a type of program that serves adults 55 and older with a mental health condition. And we really are a club where we utilize a model where staff and members work side by side. We carry out the tasks of the program. We are constantly working together to try to learn from one another, enhance social and community engagement, strengthen and recovery and wellness techniques, all while trying to incorporate different strategies to improve overall wellness and increase quality of life. So next slide, please. And next slide. Okay, so one of the main things that we talk about at the Friendship House are, you know, how can we all work on maintaining our wellness toolbox? And so what I loved about when Larry asked me to present for this, it gave me the opportunity to do what we do all the time at the Friendship House, which is share ideas together. And so I reached out to my colleagues and to the members of the Friendship House to try to see what are the different types of things that we can come up with together. And so, you know, with the colder months right now, it's challenging. You know, the drops in temperatures, the increased darkness, it's hard to see the light sometimes. We can get preoccupied with our day-to-day activities. It's harder to carve out those times for ourselves. And as we all know, the pandemic has for sure exacerbated these challenges for all of us. Next slide. So this is just a list of different tips that I'm going to go one by one, just to try to highlight different areas that we can maybe incorporate into our wellness toolbox. You know, some of these things might speak to you, some might not. That's okay. I think at the end of the day, we all have to be in touch with what works for us and just constantly work on honing that for ourselves. So next slide. Okay, so tip number 1, I just think, you know, a bunch of us were just talking about how sleep is really at the core sometimes of the challenges that can come up throughout our days. So if we can improve our sleep, that can really help shape how we manage different things that come up for us. Trying to get more sleep by adjusting our daily routines is not always easy to do, but some of the things that we can do to help us with that are avoiding screens leading up to bedtime. Also not so easy to do. Sometimes we have those last minute texts that we want to do at nighttime, but as much as possible, reminding ourselves that screens can actually get in the way of good consolidated sleep. Finding different calming things to do before bed, like reading a book that speaks to you, that calms you, drawing, journaling, listening to some calming music, treating ourselves to a relaxing bath or shower, maybe even massaging our body with some lotion because our skin might be drier during this time of year. And, it's also important to remember, if you're really struggling, we have to remind ourselves, we have to ask for help too sometimes. We speak to others about asking for help in different areas. Maybe we need to speak to a doctor to get help on getting better sleep. Next slide, please. So staying engaged can be a little bit harder sometimes, given that we're a little bit limited during a pandemic. But I think we've all worked on trying to think a little bit outside the box. I think for many of us, we're exercising those creative muscles on trying to create opportunities for ourselves to get engaged, whether it's on the phone, in different ways, through volunteer work. One of our members shared actually that for the first time, she was able to volunteer remotely by reading books to children on Zoom. So that was a fun thing to hear about. Just finding different meaningful activities that speak to us. What can we do to think about ways that we might want to help others, learn something new? Maybe it's looking at photographs to try to connect to the past, present, future, all these different things to just get ourselves feeling connected and engaged. Next slide, please. So at the same time, we also need to find time to slow down, like was mentioned earlier. It's for some people that's meditating, praying. For some, it's just finding some time to be alone. Jasa started offering during the pandemic a wonderful series of weekly meditation classes, which I just feel so fortunate to be able to carve out that time and not feel guilty about it at all during the workday. And just practicing different breathing techniques could be helpful, stretching, any type of intentional time that we can say, you know what, I'm going to intentionally slow things down a bit and not feel rushed. Making time to laugh, to be playful. Some of our members were talking about how they wish they could go on vacation. So instead, they're just doing a staycation and they're creating things in their home environment to make it fun and interesting. So maybe carving out times to stay away from screens when you're connecting with people. So you're really giving them that undivided attention, but in a very slow, calming way as much as possible. Some people actually also shared that just taking care of their pets and their plants in a very, personal way was very soothing for them. So next slide, please. Okay, so even though we need to slow down, we also need to stay active, right? So, because if we slow down too much, then our muscles get stiff. And that was something that I actually experienced during the pandemic. I noticed I was sitting so much from being inside that I actually needed to go to physical therapy because I started having joint pain that I had never had before. So we have to remind ourselves to make time for movement. Even if you're in your chair at your desk, you can do different stretches. Something that we incorporated with the Friendship House is we do on the phone, we do a joint stretching program. And it's really great because the members and the staff all take turns leading a different stretch. So that's fun. But ultimately you have to find what works for yourself. Dancing, if it means just dancing in your chair, if you can't get up, that's fine too. No one's watching. Okay, next slide. Okay, so as hard as it is to get outside, even if for a few moments, if we can get some fresh air, stepping outside, even standing or sitting in the sun for a moment can really do us a lot of good. For some, it's really hard to go outside. So opening a window, letting the fresh air come in. And if you can, even for a few moments, while obviously keeping in mind how to be socially, physically distanced and masked, meeting someone outside can really do a lot of good. Next slide, please. Okay, so connecting with others, just overall, we have found that it is so crucial to be making time for this. So whether it's on the phone, email, text, sending cards, there's so many different ways to extend a way to reach out to someone, and you just have to find what works best for you, and not beat yourself up when you're not doing it as much as you'd like. Just doing it when you think of it and feeling good about that. So I think recognizing that everyone is struggling with something is an important thing to keep in mind, and so we can practice our active listening skills, not just with our peers and our colleagues, but with our family, our friends. And we don't have to feel this pressure to always solve everyone's challenges. We can just try to be present with one another. And that can feel, that's a gift to both the person you're listening to, but a gift to yourself too, because you don't have to take on the pressure of trying to solve everything. And just overall, finding moments to celebrate joys, finding brightness in our day. Sometimes it's hard to do, but if we intentionally try to seek it out and open our eyes to the different things that might be around us, and even talking about it, talking about what you notice, because that's helpful. It helps ingrain it within yourself, and it helps, you're sharing that experience, and hopefully you're able to hear what other people are also experiencing as well. Next slide. Okay, so managing our time, I think, is one of the hardest things sometimes. And I have found that during this pandemic, just this whole, it's so beautiful that we're doing the hybrid model, but it can be a little bit challenging at times. And so I think we're all aware that we can be working in overdrive at times. So just keeping a calendar, finding maybe an app that can help you structure your time in a new way. Asking for help, I think, is also very important. With the pandemic, a lot of people were not able to go to their doctor's appointments. And so I think starting this new year by making a commitment to write down all the different types of medical appointments that you need to be catching up on, and just make a time to make that a priority. Because if we're not taking care of our own medical care, then it can really catch up with us. Okay, next slide. Okay, so I put this slide in because one of the beautiful things that came up during the pandemic was that one of my colleagues shared the Danish concept of Huga with us. And what that means is that we really try to create a mood of coziness and comfort to offer feelings of wellness and contentment. And this was just, when for so long we had to hunker down and stay in our own spaces for so long, creating our spaces to be places that we want to be, places that we feel at ease and are not stressed by the unwanted, clutter that is there. So making time to try to foster a space that is peaceful for you, that you want to be in, can be hard, but there are a lot of, different supports out there that can help you get to that. Next slide. Okay, and then obviously, being mindful of what we take into our body does matter. So we all know this, but just trying to load up in the winter months with, nutrients that can give us energy when we're feeling a little sluggish, keeping hydrated, like was said before, and reminding ourselves that warm drinks and soups can be really helpful, but the warm drinks might have caffeine, so you have to be aware that that might be dehydrating as well. So just and it's just another reminder that if this is an area that we feel like we're struggling, just to always reach out for help. Next slide, please. Okay, one of the things that we were doing a lot at the Friendship House during the pandemic was trying to share and learn from one another with different recipes. So recently, we've been talking a lot about homemade teas, and people are sharing these various recipes that are up here, so I thought I'd share that with you as well. I personally have never made myself a ginger tea, but I was so excited to share this because ginger is known to be very helpful. So I'll be trying those. Next slide. Okay, and then just to end with the idea that it's really helpful to reflect. Sometimes sometimes the help that we've received in the past can really come in handy when we're feeling stuck, reminiscing with others. I like to just really think about the different wisdom that I've learned from others over the years and try to use that in those hard moments when I'm feeling a little bit down. And just trying to be patient with ourselves, with others, trying to be flexible, trying to do things in a little bit of a different way maybe. And, I've found that I have surprised myself, so you may find that you surprise yourself as well. So I will just share, just to close, there's a quote by Martin Luther King Jr. where he says, "You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step." So that is something that I have just been trying to remind myself of, and I hope these things were helpful for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ronit. A lot of people are asking for the slides while you've been going, so clearly they have connected. So just to remind everyone, the PowerPoint and the video will be posted on the niapris.org website in the near future. So now we're going to move on. I'm going to introduce our last guest speaker, Gita Enders. I knew Gita before I trained her team. A lot of you know Gita. She is behind a lot of conferences. She does a lot of presentations. I am very happy. We are all very happy that she volunteered to be with us today. And I see you, Gita, so you can nod to me when you want me to change these slides.
Well, you've already gone ahead without me.
No.
So I want to say beforehand that some of these ideas will overlap with what the others have said. Some of them are very downstate centric, for which I apologize, but I see there have been a lot of general tips. So you can go ahead to my favorite tip. So this is not something new. I have been actually doing this for years, mostly at the prodding of other people. I do it for a little while and then I stop, which is the gratitude. Some people call it gratitude list. Some people have a gratitude journal. For me, what's been most effective is a little box with a set of index cards. I happen to get a nice little box in a Christmas gift exchange, but you can use an envelope that you decorate yourself. I'm trying to keep all of my tips very low cost. So I've been in the office throughout most of the pandemic and it's been stressful. And so it's a good thing that this box is in my office, because at the end of the day, and this could be the end of anyone's day when they come home from outside or just when they're done with their dinner or however you structure your day, I find something to write down that I am grateful for. Some of the funnier, far-reaching things. One day I wrote, "I don't have COVID," because I got a test result back. You can, and one of them interleaves with another tip that I have, so I'll hold it for then. But I find that if I look around in a panic, or if I, speaking of mindfulness, if I stop doing whatever I'm doing to make that break out of the day, I will find things. You can repeat things. If you have a great apartment, you can put that every day on your gratitude card. But I start laughing at some of the things, because you have to reduce it. Nobody gave me a diamond ring that day, but I'm leaving on time. So that's always a good thing. And so I always leave in a good mood, which I think for me is necessary, or I might never come back. So just to wind that up, yeah, an envelope, a jar, a journal if you function better that way. But every day we should think of something we're grateful for, and I think we all have something. Next. So this also, Ronit went over a little bit, the be kind to yourself. So some free or low cost things that you can do to push away the winter is, someone mentioned meditation. I didn't bring any specific meditations with me. It's hard for everyone. It's not hard for everyone. It's hard for many people. The original old school Buddhist meditators would say, empty the mind of thoughts, let one come in, let it just drift out again. This is not easy to do. So some people meditate on a mantra like Om, or something more complicated like Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, which is another sect of meditation. Epsom salt baths never occurred to me. I'll tell you where I got these in a minute. Epsom salts, again, you buy them in the drugstore. They're like $2 for a big bag of them. And baths in general, I think, are nice, but I think the Epsom salt relieves muscle pain and skin irritation. And again, it's an expensive thing to do. And as Larry pointed out, it's very cold out. So anything in the hot bath rubric, I think, will be helpful. And then we have self-help books. It's a good time, especially if you're quarantining or if you're staying home because of the cold. It's a good time to look at some self-help books. And I will leave that. I did not use examples of these or podcasts. Podcasts are pretty much always free. And I did not give examples of these because everybody has what clicks with them. I know I used to really like Louise Hay, but she had a technique where she wanted you to look in the mirror every morning and say, I love you. And that just did not work for a lot of my friends. So when you're looking at self-help books, and then my doctor used the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People as an example, and then quickly said, you don't need to be any more effective. You just stay where you are. But this is what happens when you have your out bipolar diagnosis, and don't get too riled up. And the podcasts don't necessarily have to be health-based podcasts. It would be better if they were not Joe Rogan-based misinformation podcasts, but a lot of people are doing very interesting stuff. And if you have an iPhone, you just go to the podcast app and drift through those. But I know they have them on whatever platform you're using, Spotify, iTunes, any place that you can pretty much find podcasts any place. These were brought to us by Kana Pfeiffer, the Associate Director of Mental Health here in Office of Behavioral Health. Next. As Ronit said, get moving. So again, you don't have to join a gym. You don't have to make a whole project out of it. You don't have to even necessarily have a goal. I'm going to lose 5 pounds every 4 weeks. And I have some friend who's doing this, and she's going to lose 65 pounds by the end of the year if she succeeds. And while that would be great, you get a look at me, but if I lost 65 pounds, I'd be in a hospital, and not a behavioral health hospital either. So like I said, you don't even have to have any goals. You can just, there are free, short, easy workouts on YouTube. I like Paula B Fitness and Senior Shape Fitness. You can search for them on YouTube and you'll see it when Larry posts the presentation. Some of them say they're for seniors or beginners. I happen to know personally men who do these workouts and younger people who do these workouts because they're 20-minute workouts. They'll get your heart beating, but they won't get your stomach cramping and then you feel you have to throw up because you've worked out too hard. They have no equipment workouts. They have, if you have a little set of dumbbells or 2 cans that are the same size. Now, if you're into that struggling, challenging workout, I highly recommend Team Body Project. They're an Australian family. They also have 20-minute workouts, but it's 20 minutes of brutality. And I actually like doing their workouts, but I'm told at my age, we don't recover as quickly as younger people from hardcore working out. But definitely Paula B in Senior Shape, they have just hundreds of workouts on YouTube that are free. And you can even type in 20-minute workout, 20-minute cardio, 20-minute weights, and they'll just pop right up. So next. Now this tip comes to us from Dr. Fatal, who is the Deputy Medical Director. And I say this first because I investigated this tip. I included it anyway, but doing yoga right from your own home. My brother-in-law does yoga as opposed to any of the formal working out methods described in the last slide. And I think it's good for stretch and flexibility. I'm not doing yoga now, but I used to, and I was in great shape. And the link, which again, you'll see at www.yogainternational.com. I had to put paywall because again, he's a doctor, so didn't really think about, I really wanted everything on my presentation to be cost-free. But what is nice is you can look at their homepage and get an idea of what you might want to look for, because there are plenty of free classes on YouTube. The only thing with yoga, I would definitely look up gentle yoga, regular GENTLE, because you will not have an instructor with you. And so you don't want to bend the wrong way and get a crick in your neck. Thank you, Dr. Vital. Next. So this is from Curtis Dan Messier, who's director of our H&H Peer Academy. And I second, third, and fourth this. So he has on the slide, there's a saying in the outdoor community, there is no bad weather, just bad gear. So invest in a good coat and boots, layer up, wear a hat, and get outside. Now, I don't know, I know Jonathan Edwards is here, and I don't know if he's ever seen me full on dressed for the outside. But my closest supermarket, I live in an underserved neighborhood. My closest supermarket is almost 15 blocks away. And these last weekends have been a trial. And so I was wearing, it was 11 degrees on Saturday, and I was wearing 2 sets of long underwear, a wool sweater, pants, of course, a little down Uniqlo jacket that I got in a thrift shop, which I'll talk about. Another down coat, which I had gotten as a gift for my family about 8 years ago. And that has a hood, so under the hood, I wore a hat. I also have lightweight gloves for those 20 and 30 degree days, and heavy gloves for the 11 degree days. Let me tell you, I walked this 15 blocks in 11 degree weather and I was sweating. So yeah, I don't believe in being cold, not necessary at all. And to go back to thrift shops, excellent places to find name brands at a fraction of their retail price. I've bought Patagonia, North Face, LL Bean. Tip on that is to, if you can, get yourself to a thrift shop in a expensive neighborhood, because the giveaways there are really, really upscale. And the other thing is to, or go to a high-end thrift shop chain like Housing Works. Most of these, I realize, again, are New York City centric, and I apologize, but yeah, no, we can move on.
And I'm sorry, Gita, we actually are running so far behind.
Oh, I had no idea.
So
this I can say in 2 sentences. Again, New York, from Rosalie Sanchez, who's a mental health service corps trainer, social worker. She goes to the New York Botanical Gardens in the Bronx, which is the picture, and the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, and both of them have inside spaces. So you can become one with nature without freezing your butt off. And most of these, the botanical gardens and the Brooklyn Botanic Gardens in the Bronx, there are free tickets or low-cost tickets for residents. In Brooklyn, the winter, Tuesday to Fridays, it's pay what you wish, and that includes nothing. So I think we're done. Do we have anything?
Yes.
No.
No. So thank you guys so much. You know, we have a few things we wanted to get across additionally, but you know, our panelists were so great. They brought so much with them today. I just want to put up two things. We have a lot more material that we're going to have on the website. I want to just let you know, everybody just about brought up mindfulness. I want you to know we have meditations on mindfulness put up by our own Ruth Cologne Wagner on our website. It links to our videos. She has well over 100. I don't know how many over 100, but you can go through
Over 200.
200. There's so many mindfulness exercises that you can do on our website. I've put these up so you can see. We are really not time to read anymore. There are other slides beyond the tips we got from a few other people who just submitted them. We never imagined so much support that we would get. So, and there's a limit to our webinar. I just want to let you know, if you come to our website at the beginning of next week, you'll find the video, you'll find the PowerPoint. We have a lot more stuff here from everybody here had prepared additional things. And we have a lot of tips to get your work year off to a great start, work related too. So I hope you guys will visit our website. And I think we may have to do a part 2 to get through some of the ideas. We'll have to discuss how we're going to integrate that. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming up for you. If you have any tips or questions, throw them in the chat now. We have like 1 minute to look at them. But I wanted to just tell you, everyone here will be getting our brochure. Where, as we mentioned, we're launching ethics this year, a new mindfulness training. Those seem very popular topics. We also revamped our safety for all, verbal de-escalation, managing a crisis training for online presentation. A lot of stuff going on at the collective. Really appreciate, again, thank you to our panel. Thank you to all the people who submitted. Please visit our website next week to see all the tips that we had more going. The panel had great stuff, so we will share the slides as well. Everybody, unfortunately, the pandemic is still going on. Stay safe, stay well, keep doing what you're doing. And we look forward to visiting with everybody here again in the near future. And Rob, David, and I look forward to working with everyone in our regions as in 2022, as we have been throughout the whole pandemic and the years before. So thank you for everyone who joined. We had a lot of people here today. They kept joining. Thank you to our panelists again. Everyone stay safe and well. We will see you soon. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, and Ruth reminded me, for anyone still here, you will get your evaluation within the next 24 hours, and please return it in the next 48 hours to get your certificate.